Hello and welcome on into another video. Today we have a challenge video. Today we have the Savior of Gotham challenge, which is all three Arkham games. One life only. If I die, I go straight back to Arkham Asylum. So, hope you enjoy because this video was very mental straining, a lot very rageful moments. I didn't capture all of them. Some of the audio was corrupted, so that might be, but I'll definitely tell my experience on it and hope you like this video. If you do, just hit a like. Challenge begins right as we play Arkham Asylum, skipping the cutscenes because I've already played this game multiple times, and I would thought it would be easier, but I already struggled. Anyways, this leads on to Batman arresting Joker and putting him into Arkham Asylum, which leads to one of the longest opening scenes I've ever seen, with 5 minutes, and this is a 42 sped up scene, so pretty long. Which eventually leads us to the first combat section of the game, which is pretty simple. I think the one thing about Arkham Asylum compared to the other ones, since I've played Arkham Knight the most and then Arkham City, so I play them backwards the most. So well, of course, Knight, City, Origins, then Asylum. And I think it's still pretty innovative. Even this one's a little, of course, more primitive than Arkham Knight, which makes sense. The combat still stands up, and I think it's still great. Which leads us to our first technical Predator section. I would more just count this as introducing grapple mechanics and glide, with Zaz taking him down as their first technical villain takedown of the game, and the challenge, which eventually leads us to our first parkour / just simple section, saving everyone from the Joker gas. Then leading us to the first boss fight of the game, which is the Test Titan, of course, which I did tiny bit struggle with this. I don't know why, but I think that's because I haven't played an Arkham game in a couple months, and especially not this one. Then we have to track down Frank Bull's trail and find him to stop him. Although on the way to find him, we did encounter Harley Quinn, which dropped an elevator on us, but of course, since we're Batman, does it really matter? Which eventually leads us just climbing up the giant chute because there's no more elevator, and Batman doesn't use elevators anyways. He uses only ducts, crevices, and vents. Which eventually leads us to our technical first Predator section, although this is just a quick tutorial into how everything works, and this almost gives me a heart attack because once I played through this game and I accidentally went too forward and the button didn't work with the silent takedown, and it did got caught. But good news for this round, and hopefully for the next couple rounds, that I'll be fine. Well, then technically this is the first Predator section, quick tutorial into it, 2 rounds, and then, of course, easily gets solved, no problems. And after taking out all the inmates, we do eventually find Frank Bull's dead from Joker. So we're going to have to pick up a different trail, although we do run into one of the most hated and my hated villain in all these games. Although for this challenge, of course, we don't have to deal with the Riddler because this is not 100% completion or nothing, just the main story. Just saying that, just for the other 2 games, no side missions, no extra stuff. It's just the main story. Which eventually leads us to the outside of Arkham, which just looking at the shot looks beautiful. Much years, 2 generations of consoles later, still looks great, and I think all of the games look, especially Arkham Knight though. I'll talk about that when we get there though. Which then leads us to the Batmobile after it gets attacked by some of the men here. And I do love this old design for the Batmobile. I know Arkham Knight's tanks is pretty cool, especially when the intro scene, but this like sports car version looks still great. And of course is where we get our first new gadget and one of my favorites in Arkham, of course the exploding gel. Which eventually leads us to Gordon's trail, which leads us to the medical facility, but we can't access it, so we have to go through the roof. Which eventually leads us through vents and into a new Predator section, which of course easily gets dealt with, though tiny bit of a problem in some of these sections. Although I'll get to that when I almost die or do die, because I promise you I'm definitely going to die throughout this challenge, and I'm just going to, well, it kind of kills my mental strength. I'll just say that. Which leads us to having to find all 3 of the doctors missing, which one of them's easy, just 2 explosive gels. Then leading us to a combat section, which is very easy, no problem difficulty at all. Which then leads us to another gas section, which I was so panicked right here because I somehow missed it and escaped it, but then thankfully I forgot it doesn't kill you, so everything's alright for number 3. Then we head back to the main room again, and there's another Predator section, but just like last round, this one's actually much easier, so it was plain and simple, and over in less than 2 minutes. Which then leads me to my nightmare of this challenge, and of course, who other will it be than the nightmare himself, Scarecrow. Although for the first round, of course, I make it first try. I can't say that about the the other two, but for this first try, I did it first try, so that's good. Just knowing I'll regret those words later, very much. Anyways, that leads us eventually to a new Predator section where we're not supposed to get caught by Harley Quinn or else he kills, or she kills Commissioner Gordon. But once again, easy mode, for now at least. And we just take down Harley Quinn because she's like the easiest boss in every single game and mostly just one taps. Which then led to our second boss fight, and oh no, my health almost died, and I was so scared I was already going to die to Bane, because I don't know why I'm so bad at Bane. Like, it's always just Bane that I'm bad at, but thankfully it'd be the first try. So we hit him with a car, and finish him off, then heading over to the remote Batcave in Arkham Asylum, and getting another weapon slash gadget that we'll be using a lot in this challenge, and it was very helpful throughout the challenge, which is the grapple gun, or the bat claw, which leads us to the sewers in the quick combat section, taking minimal damage, still showing that I'm not the best Arkham Asylums, it's more simple combat compared to Arkham Knights, though I still think I struggle with Arkham Knight. Then getting a quick cameo by Killer Croc himself, man looks great. Also just saying that's not what it looks like from the other side. Just noting that, Rocksteady, little mistake, but it's fine. Which leads me to the most hatred thing in Arkham Asylum, and I don't know why, these stupid snipers, because my health, oh god, I'm gonna die, because it's almost every time, and I always get scared, because I'm gonna die every time. Look at my health, this was like the most nervous point, and it wasn't even the last time this happened. I hate the snipers in this game, and that's all I'll say. Though I was being stupid, and even after taking out the sniper and me having 0 health, I got hit again and I was about to die and I was panicking to death because if I get hit one more time and look again and then I was going to die and restart because this was a little more struggling because I knew I couldn't die. I was my heart was racing. Which led me to more snipers, but this time it was a bit easier, so it was alright. I had to deal with 4 snipers. I did get hit once, but it's okay because Batman is, no, well, I would say bulletproof, but he's definitely not bulletproof in this game, as I will see soon. Which eventually, going through the Arkham Mansion, did lead me to this Predator sections, but I'm going to commentate on this full thing, because this one is the bane of my existence every time I play this. So first guy down, then glide over to the second guy, and I swear I was about to get caught again. Third guy down, right? And I think by now I'm pretty good at this game. Like, honestly, I played this game so much, I should be a master. Should be Batman. I should be taking over more than Batman is. So then I make a probably like the worst decision, and I glide back and try to grab this guy, so I can get this guy because he's still looking forward. So I'm fine. Like I'm fine. I'm gonna be fine. But he turns around, and then I try to smack him, and I try to go for the ground takedown, but it doesn't work. And then I try to get up, but it's not letting me. And then okay, so I escape it easily, right? Escape it easily. I'll be fine. So I drop back down because I'm dumb. Right as he turns around, and don't get caught. See? In the problem is I don't know why I think that I should go back, even though he turns around, sees me right there, and starts shooting me. Which in this game, look, my health has dropped more than nothing. I am gonna die. If I get caught one more time, I'm gonna die. So that was a little scary. And honestly, I understand why. But I was fine, right? There's 2 guys left. 2 guys. What could they do against the Batman? What do they have against me? 1 guy left right here. Can't catch me, and I'll be fine. But still, this was a scary moment and tells me that Predator sections will be my bane of existence in every single game. Also, Batman's trying to find Dr. DeYoung's Titan notes, but first we have to get to her office, which some guys are trying to get into already, and showing them pretty bad combat still. In time to file the trail, that would lead me back to the library, which we just grab the note and have no problems in between and burn it up. Although, the next section, once again, is my nightmare. But first, we have to pay F in chat, guys. Poor Batman. And then we have to play as a little kid, which reminds me of little kids from Ice Cream, and I don't know why. Just saying if anyone knows that, but then goes on to our nightmare, actually. Which, of course, somehow, and I barely remember, I almost died here, and I thought I died here, and I could have died here too, But although Scarecrow's a little just bad and has a skill issue sometimes, so we just defeat him easily, although the third time around I definitely couldn't say that. Which will then lead us to Zaz, take him down, and then sadly Dr. DeYoung dies, and we're gonna have to find the Warden's trail back to the penitentiary where Harley Quinn lies. Which, after a long stretch and walk, after me doing a lot of random stuff weirdly, we finally get to the penitentiary. Which eventually leads us back to Poison Ivy in her cell, and then she does escape after we find the Warden. So after we do save the Warden, we do get another gadget on our list, which will be helpful throughout this entire rest of this challenge, although not very helpful in terms of combat and predator, which would be the cryptographic sequencer, which weirdly this one changes throughout almost every game, I'm pretty sure. Like they have a different name for every single one, because I forgot what the name in Arkham City Night is, but it's not this one, unless it is. Might be just not remembering everything, so my bad. Anyways, that leads us after Harley, chasing after Harley, which leads her to electrifying the entire floor grid, and us having to have a quick problem with some inmates, which, just noting here, when I was doing my Arkham Asylum no detective mode, I don't know why I was struggling with this section so badly. Just noting that right here. Anyways, that leads us back to Harley, which she's captured two of these guards, so we have to quickly do an escape room with some electrified water, even though later after, once again, foreshadowing I'm gonna die, I died again in this section. Although, once again, we just quickly get through that because the first round was pretty easy on me, and then we go to Harley Quinn, well, about electrocute us, but with a quick combat section problem, which is pretty easy because the combat's not what my problem is in this game. It's really just the Predator, which is my biggest problem. Anyways, we deal with this pretty easy. Then, of course, we just take down Harley Quinn in a cutscene instead of a one-tap like the other two games. Which then leads us back to Botanical Gardens due to the fact Harley Quinn was doing a Titan Produce factory in here. So we just do a quick combat section, which leads me to my most hatred and worst predator section of this game, which is the Botanical Gardens one. So clearly I was just doing something dumb here because almost every time I'm in here I get like half health, and this is my bad because look at how much health one thing does in hard mode. It is ridiculous. It's like gonna kill you. Thankfully this was the last guy and I was so about to struggle and I don't know what was happening there. Which eventually leads us back to another place, which is just a quick combat section. Just forgot if it's for the electric floor water, which is a little, I did struggle with this a tiny bit. I don't know why. One more like later, because weirdly my first time playing this game for this challenge, it was very easy compared, well, struggling with the other times. So that was weird. Anyways, that leads me on to another section. We have to rescue some, I'm pretty sure doctors might be just florists or something, I don't know. Anyways, but you can't get caught in this section, which I always struggle with this. I didn't know how to do this though. For this time I finally figured out that you're just supposed to glide. Kind of sad that that took me so long to figure out. Which then leads us to a Titan fight with double Titans, which I always struggle with for some odd reason, especially in the last Joker one. I'll be much struggling because I always do this when I hit him and then the other guy comes in and I don't have time. So that's always been the problem with these. Anyways, but it's almost fine. Well, then we get the line launcher. Then we have to do a quick combat section, which I finally do amazing at. Which then leads me to another predator section, which is my much hatred one. But as I said, the first time around it was pretty easy. Which leads me back to the Arkham Mansion, talking to Aaron Cash, where the Killer Croc's lair is, to get some spores for Poison Ivy so we can finally get a cure for Titan. But of course, they have one slight problem before I get there, which is this dumb smite and sniper, which I swear almost took out me. It killed me before in a different playthrough. I don't know, it was regular playthrough, but I still hate it. And it was, I feel like you always have to get hit, but I don't know. Which leads me to another predator section, which is pretty easy, as I said. First time around, I was pretty normal at it, and I don't know why I struggled so bad later. Just maybe bad luck, I guess. Anyways, that leads us back to this thing, and then this happens. Just a random crash in the middle of the time, so. Anyways, that sets me back all the way to this predator section. I'll commentate on this one because, well, you know, my favorite thing to do with these. So simple as that. I always do this, that I go up on this guy, which why wouldn't you? Then go down onto that guy that's on the floor. Although by that point, as you get the second guy, Joker is going to announce that someone got caught, I'm pretty sure.
Stays away, that's all. I don't want any more
And I could be caught by the other guys on the top, so maybe a little risky, but I think I like risk. And by this point, they put some charges and detonators onto my favorite golems. Why am I not gold? What am I on? Okay. And then go for this guy, which is a bad idea because I couldn't silent take down. And then just straight for running because I'm gonna die. 2 bars already gone. As calm as just like me trying to be calm as much as possible. And then I did this dumb thing and I got caught again. And I go back up and yeah. And the first death of the challenge begins. Which of course leads us back to this long intro with, of course, our first also combat section, which this is at still 43 times speed. And it's a great intro, just saying, but for this challenge, it's going to get annoying. So, have to deal with it though. Anyways, that leads us to another combat section, but although for this challenge, I don't want to bore you and just recap what I just did. So, we'll just jump skip backward to where I originally was, unless I had a death. Although, of course, as I say that, I instantly get death. I'm back at the Botanical Gardens, which of course I said, and I accidentally get this guy, and I'm trying to run, but there's no way I'm going to run, and then, well, of course, what do you think? I die. Then after coming back again for the 3rd time, first time was once again normal, then when I was trying to exit the Botanical Gardens, this happened. So, well, honestly, I was really trying, like, I don't have the audio because it was broken, but I promise you I was screaming at the top of my lungs, and it's kind of painful to watch this because, oh, why Batman? Why Batman? Anyways, that leads us back to the start, so once again, 38 times speed, including Zaz now, so we're just going to be going through this glorious, amazing intro of a game, and a very long one as well, so... Anyways, that leads us, eventually, we finally get back on the 3rd or 4th try. I forgot by now. Anyways, so, thankfully, this time... Ooh, I died there last time, okay. There's a clip of me just saying that I'm survived, and thankfully it did. Also, this technically happened, but I'm not counting this as... Well, that doesn't really count as death, does it? Well, but this does count, sadly. So close, yet so far from this, and, well, back to beginning. Anyways, I'll spare you on the intro again this time, which, when eventually we do get back and Scarecrow is finally defeated and we don't have to deal with him for the rest of the game. Which eventually leads us Croc's Lair and, well, I swear that should have hit, and I keep doing this and well, another death, and honestly, by this point, I'm gonna just be honest, I feel like I was gonna quit because I was like, okay, I can't even beat the first one, so how am I gonna beat Arkham Knight? Anyways, that leads us eventually finally back after mental strains and, well, a lot of quitting and just telling myself I have to do this. And we finally do beat Killer Croc on the 2nd try, so that's great. Anyways, that does lead us to a side mission technically because we have to secure the pump control due to Joker filling, well, all the water in the exhaust ports. Well, that's some Star Wars crap right there. Anyways. It leads us to having to fix it due to the fact he put a ton of Titan in there, and we don't want, well, a full city of Titan monsters because I can barely defeat 2. Anyways, that does lead us to another combat section, which is pretty easy, as I said. I finally got the rhythm of it. I feel like for the Arkham games, you have to get that rhythm because, like, if you mess something up there, it did mess up the combo, but it's alright. Which leads us to a Predator section, which, thankfully, unlike the Botanical Gardens and the Intensive Treatment one, which was pretty easy, although my health definitely says otherwise, but it's alright. Just like here, when I say that I'm fine, all those combat sections, like, I would say is the hardest in the game because it's, like, super, like, small and tight, although the last Joker fight might be close. Although, I do Poison Ivy's fight finally, and I swear the last time I played this, it was super difficult, but weirdly, it was pretty easy this time, especially that I had a lot of health left. I didn't even break my armor yet, so that's a little weird. Anyways, that leads me to, I think, the hardest or 2nd hardest, but I think it actually goes to the sewer one now I'm looking through the footage, which is the Double Titan Joker boss fight, which is pretty, well, it's still hard because look at my health, I was about to die anyways, but I was just more waiting for the Titan, more that, but it's alright then. So then leads to the final fight, and the last part of this part of the challenge, the Joker fight. which the Joker fight, as you can see, was a struggle for me, and I kept going in red health after I was healing, and look at how close I was. I was so scared out of my life because look at how many guys I have left, and look at my health. I thought I was gonna die again, and it was gonna be those. This was what I thought I was gonna be quitting because I'm like, I'm not, I can't. Like, look, I'm a one shot away. If I mess up anything, and those whatever those things are, whatever Joker drops, those stupid those those explosives, they get me almost every time because Batman doesn't want to aim. So, anyways, but thankfully, out of misery, I almost died here. I was like so close. I was so close, and I could have died right there. But anyways, that does lead us to the end of Joker, and thankfully, the end of part one technically. But I could be back here anyways. But I won't be showing that just because it's would be too long a video. So that's it for Arkham Asylum, which does lead me back up to Arkham City, which just get the death counter up in the corner of the screen now. Anyways, there is more deaths than I put in the thing, but that's also because I didn't want to show some of them because that was me being dumb. So just know that. Anyways, this leads us to weirdly the one that I'd never struggled with at all, Batman Arkham City. Which leads us to Hugo Strange capturing us and knowing that we're Batman, so we have to escape. Although just noting right now, I'm not doing the Cat. I did do the Catwoman DLC, though I never died. Also, that's not a part of the main story, so it wouldn't even count. Anyways, so let's just continue. Anyways, that leads us to our first combat section. Also saying hi to Azrael at the top there for a second, just because, well, I won't see him throughout the challenge or any of the side missions, as I said from the beginning. So that won't be necessary, though I do love all the... I do technically do a couple side missions in Arkham Knight, but that was just for XP, so just noting that now as well. Anyways, that leads us to suiting up as Batman and knowing that Catwoman's at the courtyard with Two-Face and he's about to do some execution slash judgment on her, I guess. And also just noting, the trophy for this scene is great because it's just I am Batman. Although I'm pretty sure the platinum's called that as well. Or that's Arkham Knights. Anyways, let's just continue on. Which leads us to stopping or technically getting shot by Two-Face, Catwoman saving us, and us finding out that we're about to get shot, which probably was the Joker because he instantly calls in. So we just have to do a detective mode crime scene and find out, which leads us to the clock tower. Anyways, that goes in with Harley Quinn, which again, one tap, nothing gonna even get close. Which leads us to the top of the church, which, yes, it's a church, not a clock tower, but I was calling that. Anyways, so Joker does explode, and we have to find where Joker is located right now in Arkham City. Anyways, that leads us to the Silent Steel Mill, of course, which Batman does this cool glide in shot, which probably should kill him in this section, just saying, but it's Batman, so who cares? Anyways, that leads us to another combat section, which I struggled a little bit, but that's because the Arkham comic got very good, and I do love it. So it's definitely more fluent. And also just noting that Arkham Origins is not in this video, but there's one more video I'm doing with these 4 games, which will be the I Am Batman challenge. That one's gonna kill me more. Anyways, this leads us to our first combat section slash Predator. Why am I saying combat? Predator, which is pretty easy, thankfully, because I think Arkham City's combat or Predator. Why am I keep saying combat? The Predator sections are much easier and also a lot less. Like especially in Arkham Knight, there's like 0 Predator sections left, and I kind of miss them. But also, since Arkham Asylum made me struggle a lot, I'm fine with that a lot in this challenge. Anyways, that leads us to another combat section after saving the doctor and getting the remote electrical charge. Oh, I swear I was called something else in Arkham Knight. Okay. Anyways, that also leads us to Mr. Hammer, which is my favorite guy because I really struggled with him. And I don't know why, because he's pretty easy. You just go over him and just keep kicking him just like that. And then we take him out and go find Joker. Then we find Joker sick and died. Although then he tear gases us as the real Joker? Anyways, then he poisons us with his blood due to the fact that the Titan formula from Arkham City did cause a lot of problems. And as I was saying, since that leads us to Catwoman, we'll just skip over a section. Which then we have to be led to Mr. Freeze's place, which is the JCPD old building, which of course weirdly the Joker's men and now the Cobblepot's men, aka the Penguin's men, are trying to get in. So after taking them out, we head into the building, which then leads us all the way back into the building, which more goons are there. But then we figure out Mr. Freeze is not here and is actually was taken by the Penguin after interrogating a goon because what else would we not do? We're Batman. And who wouldn't tell us? We find out that he's being kept in the museum and that Penguin is collecting a lot of people like Mr. Freeze and wanting a lot of others, especially the Batman. Anyways, after taking out the guards in the front, we do try to get in, although the Penguin does jam our signal and find out that he has communication disruptors, so we have to take out 3 of them, which one is a combat section, which is pretty easy and simple on top of the museum, so was pretty fast to get there. Anyways, that leads us to the next section, which is a predator section. Technically, it could be a combat, but I really doubt you want to do that because they all have guns. And then we take out the second one, which leads to the third one in the all the way downstairs, aka all the way in the sewers, which once again is a simple predator section. As I said, Arkham Asylum more just because Batman can take bullets there. And by this point, I already upgraded all my armor for at least bullets because I'm not really scared of combat because I think I'm pretty good at Arkham combat, the free flow style. So, anyways, that leads us back to the museum, which then we have to take out some guys from killing a cop, supposedly, and simple as that. And we save him, and then we also have to find out all the other cops are in the building, and we have to go save them too, plus take out Penguin. Anyways, that leads us to a giant section with a lot of people. Weirdly, they disappear after the first round. But then the second round introduces a Titan, but instead I don't have to actually hit him with a battering, it's just an ultra beatdown. And this time it's only quickly and simple. So it's much easier than the Asylum Titans. And you can just do this all the time. So that moves on. That moves on to letting us get some 2 cops that are frozen in this giant chamber of water, which this is a museum, correct? I don't know how you're supposed to get around this place. Also, there's a shark in here, so that doesn't worry me at all, but also, who cares? It's Batman once again. Anyways, then Batman takes out these guys that were hiding Mr. Freeze's suit, but once again, the Predator sections in this game are pretty easy compared to Asylum. Anyways, that leads us back finally to finding Mr. Freeze, but Mr. Sickle is here, just like Mr. Hammer's pretty easy, which I was just using his combo meter to get special takedowns for the other rest of the guys, which is actually a pretty good strategy, honestly. Like, I probably haven't thought of this before, so that's a little weird. Anyways, we find out Penguin has Mr. Freeze's gun, so we have to tell him to give us a chip to overwrite it, although he doesn't want to give us to it, so we kind of balance his life in our hands, and Batman's a little tough on the people these days. He's a little grumpier than usual. Anyways, after getting the chip from Mr. Freeze's suit, we just take out Penguin in one shot once again, although we did get a surprise right after with Solomon Grundy, but honestly, it was pretty tough on the third round because I don't know how to evade everything, but once again, not too hard for Batman, and I don't know why Arkham City is being so, I think Arkham City should be harder, but something's a little weird. Also, then we take down the Penguin, which has a rocket launcher, and I also don't really know how to evade this, except just running around. Kind of a simple tactic. Which I thought you could grapple him, but never mind. And you just give him the beatdown, and then leading to Mr. Freeze. Anyways, that also leads us to about 130 minutes. So if you are still watching, thank you for still watching. So if you do like, of course, like and subscribe, and that is your choice. Anyways, this does lead us to having to follow one of the League of Assassin members because Mr. Freeze needs an ingredient for the cure, which is a sustainable thing. And we only know one man for the job, which is Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul. I call him Raish. So anyways, that leads us to finally finding the League of Assassin member, which we place a tag, although they technically get the jump on us. Though, then, of course, we get a surprise cameo by Robin, which I skipped for some odd reason. And we get the line launcher once again and have to follow her all the way back to the sewers, which would lead us to another Predator section, but this one's also pretty easy. So, not gonna lie, Arkham City is looking pretty easy compared to Arkham Asylum. A little weird. Anyways, that leads us to doing a bot thing, just to do a quick scavenger hunt with a lot of bots, which leads us to finding the secret entrance into Ra's al Ghul's place, which is under the movies. Just noting that now, which, you know how far the tunnel we went through is? It's gonna be pretty far, honestly. Anyways, which leads us to seeing Batman's parents because he's almost dying and the poison's almost gonna get to him, so we better hurry up. Then we have to do the Trials of the Demon, which is pretty easy, just some quick gliding, I guess. I don't know how this makes you worthy and combat, I guess. But I don't get how this makes you worthy. Also, I did have a glitch there that just technically made me fall and teleport, but it didn't actually give me a death screen, so just saying that. Anyways, now to face the hardest boss fight in this game. Well, technically second, I don't know. I mean, that and Clayface. But kinda scared for this one. Anyways, that leads us to the actual boss fight, Ra's al Ghul, which I was kind of scared for, and I was like thinking I was gonna die very much. But thankfully, it was pretty hard though, honestly, but still easier than I thought because I thought I was gonna really die. I kept getting hit a lot, so I'm surprised I even lived through this one. Anyways, but thankfully, we just give him a beatdown and get the cure. And now let's head back to Mr. Freeze. But first, we do have to deal with this quick predator section that's pretty simple and honestly not really anything to brag about. And this giant combat section, which I do love these giant ones because I feel like they're easier than I don't know why they're easier than small ones, but that's just like feeling that you're just doing great for combo is amazing, and I love the Batman games just for that as well, especially for the free flow. Anyways, that leads us back to trying to get out. Although first we have to help Mr. Mayor Sharp, Warden Sharp. Although we do find out that he's working for someone and that they arrest the mayor, which is very odd. Although Batman does want to do something else, but he does have to go and do the cure instead. Anyways, that does lead us all the way back to the GCPD building, which is a quick combat section, of course, again, which nothing to fly about. And then we have to do not the hardest boss fight, but my most terrified one because Mr. Freeze is scary always in this game and every game in general. Also, just saying Mr. Freeze in like every game he appears in the Arkham games is so good. Like Cold Court Horror is amazing. Why am I saying it so bad? Anyways, the Season of Infinity is amazing, and Mr. Freeze's boss fight in this game. So props to Mr. Freeze in the Arkham games. Although I don't know why. Once again, as I'm saying, weirdly Arkham Knight in Arkham City is very easy. That I took almost zero health in this damn. I like barely even got hit. So surprising for that. Then we had to save Vicky Vale after she got shot down by Joker and snipers were surrounding her, but that's pretty easy. Also, Mad Hatter was there, but no side missions. Well, for this one, I didn't do any side missions because I had enough XP. But for Arkham Knight, I really wanted my health, so I definitely did some side missions on the side. Anyways, that leads us back to the steel mill, which simply enough is pretty easy once again for another Predator section. Someone tell me why Arkham City. I played Arkham City almost the least now due to me playing Arkham Asylum so much. I've definitely played Arkham City the least out of the quadrilogy and definitely the trilogy. So it's a little weird for me. Anyways, that leads us to rafting and then another combat section, which is pretty easy because by this point I know and the critical strikes are so helpful in this game. Plus, you can get the special combo moves or the takedown moves, so nothing to worry about at all. Anyways, that leads us to another easy Predator section. That's all I have to say because look, I took 0 damage. Anyways, that leads to the longest and the hardest combat section. Just look at this 10 seconds and it's like 50 times speed, so that's kind of insane, you know. That's pretty long. Anyways, we finally take out the Joker after so long and so much XP probably. I don't even know how much XP I got. Anyways, but sadly, Protocol 10 does kick in, and we do have to talk about Catwoman for a second just to do this because I'm pretty sure it's required anyways, after doing a quick combat section and Predator section, Catwoman does have to technically do a choice, and you can technically, honestly, if I ended the game, would it count still? Probably not, because Batman would be dead. But, anyways, she goes saves Batman after he was caught in the ruckus and leaves a lot of money behind instead of being rich, though she would probably keep stealing anyway, so I don't think that changes much. We head back onto Batman's trail. Anyways, you have to stop Protocol 10 because Alfred and Orca say it so, even though Batman wants to go save Talia from Joker. Although now we have to get the master codes, which was pretty hard. Well, honestly, I kept getting chasing down my helicopters. But that leads us to Wonder Tower. And after a monologue in a pretty long combat section, it's not like the hardest, but definitely struggle a tiny bit, we have to climb Wonder Tower. Anyways, leads us to another Predator section, which no difficulty, so that's all I have to say. Then going up the elevator and then doing a quick combat section, which, once again, by this point, I am the Batman and I'm a master at this game. Well, I will always regret that when I get to Arkham Knight. Anyways, this leads us to climbing the tower, which takes a long time, honestly. And then the final boss in the final Predator section, technically. Well, not the final boss, but that leads us to the last tower and defeating Hugo Strange. Although then I do this dumb thing and I go for it, and I don't know why I don't know where the exit is to this, and I go for the takedown instead and being an idiot. Then I go back in the crate, and I don't know where the entrance is. It was on the other side of me, and I was being dumb. What am I doing here? I keep trying to exit through every side, but it's not working, and then I try to run and not drop a smoke pellet. And then the only death in Arkham City I ever had, so, well, back to the start. Anyways, after finally getting back, it was pretty simple. Thankfully, I didn't mess up this much because I actually used my smoke pellet, and I don't know why he did that. Anyways, we take him down, find out that Ra's al Ghul was actually his helper, and that Hugo Strange is his actual, not actually the boss here. But then they explode Wonder Tower, and we don't have to deal with any of them. Although, right as we do complete that, Joker broadcasts a video with him and Talia, and now we have to go save her at the movies. Anyways, we have to take out a ton of snipers at the front. Joker just like being annoying with everything. I did not want to mess this up. I finally used a smoke pellet. And then we can finally head in to, now that I'm looking through the footage, not 100% the hardest boss fight because Clayface, oh lord, if I died there, I would have rage quit. Anyways, that does sadly lead to Talia's death with Joker, and now we have to fight Clayface because actually, Joker has been technically a clone this entire time. Well, most of the time. Sometimes he did change. Anyways, for the first round, I was pretty fine. My health was a little sad, but then we did have round 2 when Mr. Joker decides to change the scene just to make Batman feel a little better. Anyways, that finally gets down and look at my health now, and this guy would have gave me a heart attack if I died, but thankfully I didn't, so thank Batman that he didn't, for once in his life. Anyways, this sadly does lead, well, not even sadly, because we'll still see him anyways. Joker does die after stabbing Batman in the back and not getting the cure, and Batman saying he would have shared. So, a little ruthless, Batman. Anyways, that does lead us to the end of the game, and thankfully, only one death in Arkham Knight, or Arkham City, compared to Asylum, so. Anyways, put the death counter right here. And let's go on to Batman Arkham.
This is how it happened. This is how the Batman died.
We begin our story in a diner with Officer Owens, and he gets told some guy's smoking them back. So we go there, and then we get fear toxin, and then, well, a lot of things happen, and then we start shooting people. And I wonder how many people, I don't know, this is a strange thought, but how many people you can actually kill in this scene, or if you can actually survive this. I really doubt it, because you have to eventually, but I've tried my hardest, and I failed. Anyways, that leads us in to Mr. Scarecrow announcing that he's basically going to destroy everything, and then everything goes rampage. The cops basically evacuate the city, and the only people left on the streets is criminal scum, like the Penguin and Two-Face. Although I won't be seeing them, I will be seeing Penguin, but only one time, and I won't be stopping him because, as I said at the beginning, once again, I won't be doing side missions. But let's begin. Anyways, this leads us into finding the Batman. And for this playthrough, I'm actually going to do mix between the Arkham Batman and the new actual updated with Robert Pattinson's The Batman. And first off, we have to head over to Commissioner Gordon. He has some news for us, which he tells us some weird military militia vehicle is heading on the streets, and that's the only thing they got. But first, we have to go save a cop from an area with a ton of criminals, which introduces us to Arkham Knight's combat, which is the most fluent of all of them. And still, I think the Batman suit looks great. Some textures, I feel like some shaders are missing, but makes sense as a quick update. And then we get the intro to the most loved and hated thing about this game, and one of the most beautiful things, I think. This thing looks amazing. The Arkham Knight Batmobile, just slick. And then we have to chase down the militia vehicle, which, after going through very, very tight streets of Gotham City, gets us off. And then we have to interrogate him because that's what Batman does best, isn't he? Then we do find out that Scarecrow's keeping Poison Ivy in a hostage situation nearby, so we head over. Then that goes all the way in, so we just do a quick another combat section to free her and go downstairs. Which then we find some militia ambushing us, but of course we have the literal tank, the Batmobile, and we do get introduced to tank combat, which will definitely get tiring throughout the game, but we won't complain about that until much later. Then we get back to some combat section and a tank section, put her back into GCPD, talk to Gordon about some problems that won't really matter due to the fact we're not doing side missions, although I will do some for, of course, XP, but I won't be showing those. Anyways, we have to go back to the clock tower to analyze the new toxin that Scarecrow has made. Then also we go back to Oracle, finding out that the toxin has a radioactive side of it and can be tracked, although we have to go to the movie studios to get the radio antenna ready up and to get another antenna because they'll need two to pinpoint the location of Scarecrow. But also we need the Batmobile to do some things and do some parkour on top of this movie studio to charge up the antenna, which that's a pretty good battery right there. Then that leads us to our second antenna after putting the first one and do a technical first Predator section, though it's only two guys, so it's not going to be hard. And one of my favorite moments of this game, the Arkham Knight suit. How this just is a great suit. I know it's a little too armory, of course, because I don't think Batman, but just look at this thing. And also, just to gloat for a second, Arkham Knight's graphics are insanely good for 2015. This is 2 gens old, and I think it looks better than a lot of games now. Definitely has an aesthetic to it, but look at this suit. This is a great suit. Oh, Batman. Anyways, let's continue on to finally doing our first multi-fear takedown.
New suit is faster and more mobile.
Anyways, continuing on, we put on the two antennas together, finding that Ace Chemicals is our location, even though I feel like Batman should have knew that, but we won't give him that much slack. Also, still look at this city. Gorgeous. Arkham, definitely this one is one of my favorite renditions of Gotham. Well, one section of Gotham. But anyways, head on to Ace Chemicals, which leads us to finding our new villain of this game and technically original character, the Arkham Knight, which unknown, and I think his suit actually looks pretty good, especially his helmet looks great. Also, Batman is fearless, just saying. Look at him. He's just a different type of guy. He's built different, of course. But let's continue on. And then we have to do another Predator section, which is pretty easy, as I said. Arkham Knight has the easiest Predator section, hardest combat, but that also leads us to getting the codes for all the employees stuck in, and we find that there's 5 guys, and we have to rescue them all. And we first do the first combat section, which is pretty easy because, well, multi-fair takedown is kind of little cheat code, honestly. And also you can just do a environment takedown and then one shot. So anyways, we find the first guy sadly dead, but we do bring in the Batmobile into Ace Chemicals, which gladly leads us to the second guy that is still alive gladly. And although the Arkham Knight does ambush us, we do kind of have a tank just sitting in the back. Also still Arkham Knight suit looks great. For an original character, still looks great, and Roxy knows how to do them. Anyways, so we can help the second guy out and go to the third guy, which after a combat section and tank section, sadly, we do find that numbers 3 and 4 are dead, sadly, so there's only one left that we have to take an elevator with the Batmobile holding it up. Then that does lead us to doing one more combat section in the bottom, which is pretty easy. And then we can find the last guy, thankfully, once again alive. And then we have to go back to Commissioner Gordon to give him the guys rescued. Although right before that, we do have a boss fight with a helicopter, which is pretty easy. You just fire both your guns at him instantly. Just look at the damage. And then we have to go back to Commissioner Gordon. Then after dropping him off, we have to run through this wall because we found that Scarecrow's at the middle of it, but the entrance is blocked. So why just not just ram into it? Which really, there's guys here, so a little weird. Anyways, after this, we have to do a technical Predator section and a long combat section. We can finally get to the main Predator section, which is pretty easy once again. but just had a little run-in because I only have much health anyways. So surprising they didn't take health, and of course, just like Arkham Asylum, I struggled on the second time around. I don't know why it's always that. Anyways, we do technically stop Scarecrow, but he does get a catch on this. So to deactivate the giant bomb he's going to explode on the continent, we do have to use these giant pillars and sacrifice ourselves. Although there we do ran into a guest here.
Miss me?
This is how it happened. This is how the Batman died.
Well, not at least yet. So anyways, we do go with Commissioner Gordon to a flashback of him finding the Jokers, which is another group that did get infected by the blood and treated from Arkham City. And we also get a little jump scared by Batman, weirdly, which shows how scary he is. Anyways, we head back to the present where Batman has to escape, but now has a pal with him that's accidental. Also did switch my suit again, so sadly can't go in the suit for the entire time. And I'll switch it back anyways later, but first off, we have to head out this Ace Chemical factory that's about to explode, although my driving skills are clearly not on par with Dom Toretto. Anyways, we get to the clock tower because me and Gordon find out that they took Barbara Gordon from us, and we have to get her back. But first, we do have a Predator section that we have to deal with, which, as I said, it's pretty easy because Arkham Knight isn't meant for Predator sections, I feel like. And then we do get a flashback. Thankfully, Joker reminds us because it has flashback on his head. And we do find out that, well, don't drag your friends into psychopath games. Remember that, people. And then we start tracking the Arkham Knight's vehicle, although we do have to do with this bomb, which I did do some bombs throughout this playthrough and the next one, I think. But although these aren't actually meant for the mission, so won't be showing them. But they're good XP boosts, you know? Anyways, this leads us to the next island, Miyagami, which we can't track the Arkham Knight's militia due to the fact they have locked it down. So we have to do another Predator section. And this one, well, yeah, it wasn't pretty for me. Just gonna comment on this one. So I accidentally was trying to go for this guy, but he already caught me. So I go like, I'm gonna go for the second guy, even though there's a drone right there. And I go out, go for him, even though there's a guy right there. So I slam attack. I'm so glad there's a slam attack in this one. Go this. I'm at 1 HP. Just go up the chute before they throw another detonator down. And if you can know, I was on like the verge of like dying because remember, okay, when I died in Arkham City, I had to go back to Arkham Asylum. And I hate that one. But I didn't, thankfully, didn't. I had like 2 more deaths there. So that's why I counted it in 6 deaths total. And if I die here, guess what? I have to go back to Arkham Asylum. So it's like a death challenge. And I keep doing this. I could have died right here again. So I just grappled away. And I was like the most panicked I've ever been because I did not want to die. I was wanting my life so badly here. And there's 3 guys and I have 0 health basically. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna die here probably. So just need to be careful. I'm that one with the Batman. I kept saying that. It's just like one with the bat. And thankfully somehow I didn't die. So let's move on from the stressful situation because I could have died right there too. Like, yeah. Anyways, let's move on. Which makes us deal with this guy, which the Riddler, which we do have to go do a side mission, but I won't show that because who cares about this guy? I'm so glad I don't have to deal with him because no one cares about him, right? I hate this guy. Anyways, that leads us to a crime scene, but that doesn't really matter because, well, one, look at this. So I was gliding through the city. I was doing side missions for an hour and did that one thing with the car. And I swear, I called it right here. Look, I literally said right before this, I'm not joking, I don't have the audio, but right before this, I said that he was going to come out, and he came out. So that's surprising because I'm pretty sure I've only had him at like 2 buildings only, and that was one of them. So I was like, it has to be because I was doing side missions for so long. I was like, this guy's going to pop up. Anyways, let's continue on to getting a new upgrade for the Batmobile, and then finding the militia underground under Miyagani Island, which we do find, although the Arkham Knight was expecting us and kind of ambushed us, and actually got a couple shots in. This guy's pretty cool. Also, I wonder how long he was waiting up there. Anyways, then we have to start chasing him because he starts fleeing. And then that leads to us kind of getting bamboozled in some random guy. But instead, Batman uses his very lawful and very nice intimidation tactics and finds out that Penguin has a new company called Nord Refrigeration, which has been smuggling guns and is the reason why the militia has so many guns. So we go over there. Nightwing gives us a disruptor, and we also finally get to the place and beat everyone up, which I love these, but we're only doing one because side missions. Though I love Nightwing, just saying he's my favorite Batman character other than Batman himself. But anyways, that leads us all the way back to the militia and Stag, which he's got all his airships, so we have to take out a watchtower just to do this. I know this is technically side missions, but some side missions are required. For an example, the Riddler one, they kind of force you to do that one, and I forgot the other one. And also, just noting that I'm at my 200th recording, so that's nice. So my voice dies, that's probably why. I've been just sitting down doing this entire editing shoot in one go, so sorry. Anyways, we get a new item for our adventure, which also just saying Batman has a nosebleed, and I never noticed that. So in the first game, it is called the cryptographic sequencer. In this game, it has remote hacking device, so it was different. So I did know that, and I didn't know that until now. So anyways, we have to head back to the Stag's ship, and after a while, we finally find him in the middle of the airship being contained. Although we do fight these guys and then Joker gets us. So sadly, we cannot get Stag the first time around, and now we have to take out some turrets to get to the other ship. Anyways, that does lead us all the way back into another Predator section, which, just noting here that this was probably like, I don't know what I was doing, so first I did this and then got the second guy, right? Simple as that. And then, of course, going across, the guy was about to detect me, so I had to undo that. So I try to go over here, which I know there's a guy here, which is a problem because it instantly knocks me down. There's two guys here. And also, if you looked at my health, one gun kind of depletes your entire armor set. And I don't know why that is. And then I was dumb and tried to go all the way across for the medic because I know I can't have to get rid of that dumb medic. But there was a guy there and he saw me and then, yeah, one health. Okay, I survived here, right? And yeah, and then I got shot. So, restart and, it's just, that death screen is more painful because it's Arkham Knight. Anyways, after the long grind, I won't tell you. Also, I got a couple more deaths, so I'll add that to the count later. But, okay, finally complete this Predator section. Even though also just noting that I had to get all the armor before I went here because I was just doing a ton of side missions and I didn't want to be low armored again. Even though I guess that doesn't help in this game in Predator section for some reason, even though there's not much, but the guns do hurt. Guns really hurt because Batman's not bulletproof. Anyways, we have to find Stag's fingerprints, so we have to do another detective mode, but that doesn't really matter for this challenge, does it? Anyways, that leads to two combat sections and going across another combat section with that beautiful kick through the window from Batman. And then let's go on. Which leads me to a Predator section, which I easily dealt with, although now we have to face Scarecrow. And we do fail due to the fact Joker started taking over, and we did almost beat the crap out of Scarecrow, though we still fail. And sadly, part 2 of this game commences, even though we could have finished it, Joker didn't just be rude. And Scarecrow does escape. And then we find out, sadly, Barbara is dead. Which Batman doesn't take it lightly. Although, if you're sneaky, you know this is probably incorrect due to the fact literally Joker gives you the gun. So, it doesn't make sense. But also, Batman could have just turned into a villain and killed everyone anyway. So, thankfully he didn't. Anyways, we have to deal with a Cobra tank and also lead Poison Ivy back to the Botanical Gardens due to the fact we know she can actually stop the toxin, although not as much. So we head over, also need to gain a sonar from Wayne Tech, which the militia just tries to get rid of us, but of course, doesn't gonna work. Anyways, I get into a combat section, which I usually struggle with, but surprisingly don't. So we go to Bat Computer to find the Cloudburst with the Bat Plane, or Batwing. Why do I always forget that? Although we can't due to the fact Founders Island has a missile launcher and multiple relay drones, so we have to defeat that before we can do that. And after a couple combat sections and Predator technically before, which I didn't struggle with, of course, we do finally get well, we finally fight this thing, which I don't think I know how to fight because you're supposed to hit the sides, but I guess it still works. Anyways, we have to head back to the clock tower, which we try to scan for the Arkham Knight's Cloudburst, which we do start, although we do get an intermission by a person that we all hate, and, well, I guess I won't say the second part, but anyways, back in the movie studio, sadly, Robin does get captured by Harley Quinn somehow, even though I don't think that's likely. Because Batman, I guess he just forgot all his training. So we have to head back there instantly while the Batplane tracks the Cloudburst. And meanwhile we do that, we have to head over back to the movie studios and do a combat section and then do a voice synthesizer to get in because Harley Quinn somehow hacked into Batman's things, even though I don't think that makes sense. But later, Joker does say that she was holding him back, or he was holding him. So I guess that explains it. Who knows? Anyways, that leads me to doing the dumbest thing in the challenge ever. And after I basically took everyone out, I go for the sentry guns, and I forget there's two, and die. What's the not okay? You didn't. No, I'm not the original. Okay, like you can't. Like I swear, I was like about to just quit because I was on call with one of my buddies when I was doing it because my audio was broken, and then, yeah, that happened. So painful, 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 painful. And then that's a restart with this long thing. It's 35 times right now for the intro. This is a long intro, but it's pretty good. Pretty good just for my circumstance. It's not the best. Anyways, that leads me to quickly taking out this guy and finally getting back. And so it was painful and more deaths on the way. So you guys are gonna definitely see a lot of pain when we get to the ending. So problem, I'm going over the footage and I'm lost this entire section other than this like last like little bit with Charisma and forgot the last guy's name. Anyways, let me just summarize it. So we can help Christina by doing the Predator section, which I didn't struggle with because the tag teams are pretty easy. I loved it. Of course, Charisma's singing and Joker's Mark Hamill singing is amazing. I loved it. That's like one of my favorite things about this game right now. I don't know why. And then we do the final boss. Actually, I forgot what his name. Albert King, yeah. And that's just another combat section, which is now annoying because when he hits you, hits you. Anyways, let's move on. So problem. More of the footage is gone. So I have the entire Cloudburst part is gone. And I'm just gonna say, if you can believe me, I did not die in that section because its tank sections are pretty easy, though I did struggle with it anyways. So literally, like all I have footage wise is all the way up until the Red Hood slash Jason's part. So let's just get into his boss fight. Which, first of all, we have to do a quick combat section, which I don't know why I was struggling so bad. So let's just get into the actual boss fight, which is a basic Predator boss fight, I guess. Which is semi-hard. I think it's just one last part. Anyways, we eventually get to the end of the boss fight, which is a little difficult. I'm not gonna say it's easy because my health bar definitely says otherwise. Although, so it was fine. Then we find out it was Jason Todd the entire time, but everyone knows that. Also, the suit still looks great. I feel like it's like the Batman 2. And then we have to confront Scarecrow with Commissioner Gordon back on top. Also, just remembering that the Batmobile got destroyed. And then also Commissioner Gordon betrays us and helps Scarecrow. But Barbara's alive, so we do help her and get back to GCBD. Though then she sends us to go get the servers because Arkham Knight's trying to get our servers back and off. So we quickly do another Predator section, which is easy. Then head back to GCBD, do a couple combat sections because we're getting overrun. And then the difficult part that I'll actually show because the rest of it was pretty easy. And since we're heading an hour, I need to kind of speed up, you know. So then this happens. Well, I kind of saw this coming. I hate this. This is like the worst. This is the worst combat section. Never mind. I underestimated this. I was trying to do this, but yeah. One more restart. Anyways, we finally get back and defeat this time by actually trying to use as much as possible. So I think it was just more rhythm. Then we have to head back to movie studios because something happened. And then find out, of course, Robin got taken by Scarecrow. Maybe because I forgot to mention Batman kind of locked him up in a shell because he was going insane. So, and then this leads to the final mission, which Scarecrow finally takes us, and we have to surrender. Anyways, this finally takes us all the way to well, having another Joker, last Joker part, which we pay respects, then we fight a ton of Jokers, and get to another favorite part of mine, which is using the Joker mobile and literally just destroying everything and then using the killer joke is pretty fun. Then we also have to kill Mr. Cobblepot, Riddler, and Two-Face, though I didn't kill Penguin. I spared him, and, well, you'll see what I did to Riddler. I'm just noting I definitely don't hate this man at all. I have no grudge against him. Anyways, this leads to Joker being afraid of being forgotten, and Batman finally puts him in his place and puts him in the back of his mind. Also, Batman got captured and was taken to Arkham Asylum by Scarecrow, although he thinks we're over and will be fearful because fear brings life, I guess. But he forgets that we have other allies. So Risey puts a gun to our head, of course. Surprisingly, the Red Hood saves us, and we're off to beating him up and using Scarecrow toxin against his own self, and we finally capture Scarecrow. Which leads us to the end of this challenge, which was kind of painful, honestly. So, I hope you enjoy this, and if you're still here, I think I might split this into 2 parts, so who knows in post-production. So, anyways, if you are still here and this is the full version, or you're watching the second half, I hope you enjoyed my suffering, and, well, you probably can't know how much I'm going to suffer when I do the next challenge, but anyways, I guess it's time for the counter at the end. But see you guys later, and it's time to see how many times I died.